What a disaster. What an absolute disaster. And instead of the WNBA recognizing the unbelievably bad product they presented last weekend, they are choosing to look at this positively by celebrating their success. Headline at Front Office Sports. WNBA All-Star Game drew 3.2 million viewers, up 44% compared to last year. I cannot believe it! America has fallen in love with pretend basketball. Celebrate the butt bongo! Woohoo! Yes, yes, yes! The massive audience, that was not the only positive coming out of WNBA All-Star Weekend, with Jonquel Jones winning the MVP, the award given to the most valuable pretender. The WNBA, they were able to successfully identify one of their many Jane Does. John Jones became a celebrity overnight, at least temporarily. Unfortunately for JJ, she will probably be forgotten by this time next week. Now, I'm sure some of you guys are confused by the title of this video. I'm sure you're wondering, how can this be a disaster for the WNBA? Millions of people were watching. Ratings for the All-Star Game were huge. Instead of giving you a verbal explanation as to why 3.2 million people seeing this substandard product is disastrous, how about I give you a visual explanation? Now, keep in mind, what you're about to see is supposedly the best players in the league. According to the WNBA, these are their stars. This right here is the best this league has to offer. Saturday night, 3.2 million people were exposed to this. Watch it for yourself.
Stewart tips it alive. Williams from 4-point range.
Ty Young almost subbed him in when we were down. Who she wanted to pass it. Oh.
10 points. Howard did right back. What a pass from NECA. Asia Wilson can't finish it. Clark gives it underneath and then isolated on Caitlin at all for a blow-by yet. Is that coming? 5 seconds left in the third. Coppers jump to Reese. Asia Wilson getting the block. Young can't flip it in. Malanga.
The WNBA was given the opportunity Saturday night to showcase their product. There was no competition. There was nothing else for America to watch. They were given a primetime window on ABC. This is something the WNBA has been begging for decades. ABC provided the platform. ESPN provided the propagandists like Shanae Agwumake, who were steadily polishing this turd. They were telling the audience to expect greatness. They were telling the audience these are the best basketball players on the planet. The stage was set. Everyone else did their part. All the WNBA had to do was deliver. And to their credit, the WNBA delivered Saturday night. They delivered the truth. They proved to America what Uncle KC has been saying all along. This league is the drizzling shits. Let's go ahead and get to the sponsor for today's video, my good friends at Fluffernoggin. I am not a big snacker. Uncle KC does not eat a lot of junk food, but there are times during the week when I'm too busy to stop and grab lunch, and I need something quick and easy, but also filling enough to get me to dinner. One thing I have found that fills me up, beef jerky. Problem is, a lot of beef jerky tastes like you're biting into a flat tire. Good news is, I no longer have that problem because I started buying gourmet beef jerky from Fluffernoggin. Now, you're probably wondering, what the hell is a Fluffernoggin? Fluffernoggin is gourmet beef jerky that is 100% made in America. You don't have to worry about consuming foreign cows because all these cows are homegrown. Each recipe from Fluffernoggin is handcrafted with the perfect amount of seasoning. First beef jerky I've ever tasted that literally melts in your mouth. Fluffernoggin comes in a variety of flavors ranging from mango habanero, Korean barbecue. They even have a flavoring of craft beer. Or if you're like me, you'll stick with the original style flavoring. So click the link in the description or the pinned comment below. Use my promo code BTL30, BTL30. Receive 30% off your first purchase with Fluffernoggin. Saturday night was the second most watched All-Star Game in the history of pretend basketball. The most watched All-Star Game was in 2024, Caitlin Clark's rookie season and her first appearance in the All-Star Game, which drew 3.4 million viewers. Are you noticing a trend here? Yesterday, Sports Business Journal, they compiled a list of the most watched WNBA games so far this season. Caitlin Clark had 13 spots on the list, and she had the top 7 most watched games of the season. But Uncle KC, this isn't a fair comparison. All of her games are nationally televised, so Caitlin Clark has more opportunities to draw ratings. Why do you think all of her games are nationally televised? The WNBA did not make that decision. If it were up to this dump, if it were up to the Equity League, all teams would have an equal amount of nationally televised games. The networks made the decision to put every Fever game on national TV. Supposedly, WNBA ratings are up 12% when compared to last year. Games featuring Caitlin Clark are averaging 1.6 million viewers. Yet, for some reason, the WNBA as a league, and this is with Caitlin Clark included, the WNBA as a league is averaging 742,000 viewers. I wonder why. I wonder how your biggest star can average 1.6 million, but your league average is less than half that number. How could that be? My only guess is this means that America is telling the rest of the WNBA to get off my TV. They're not watching. There is no denying the fact the WNBA is on fire right now, but this popularity is an illusion. Remember last summer when Caitlin Clark was injured? Remember how I kept saying that the WNBA was losing momentum? The WNBA didn't feel as important. It wasn't as mainstream. The storylines weren't as exaggerated. The media, for the most part, they were ignoring pretend basketball last summer. There is only one difference between this summer and last summer. Caitlin Clark. That is the only difference. Ironically enough, with the massive opportunity this toxic turd of a league was given Saturday night, Caitlin Clark was the only one who bothered to show up. She was one of very few players who were giving effort during the All-Star Game. Caitlin Clark delivered the audience, and her colleagues in the WNBA once again failed to deliver. Her colleagues weren't dropping buckets, they were dropping turds. The question is why? Look, I was not expecting perfection at the WNBA All-Star Game. I was not expecting elite basketball, especially in this league. But I was expecting quote-unquote professionals to have the ability to make undefended shots. Instead, we got undefended air balls. How could the rest of the league fail to take advantage of this opportunity? Headline at Front Office Sports. WNBA players demand more rest after All-Star Weekend. I know the game sucked Saturday night, but we were tired. We're exhausted. Sometimes we have to play 3 games in 1 week. Plus, we need more money. If we were paid more to be All-Stars, we would give more effort. Let me make sure I'm understanding this correctly. You're trying to convince me that the reason the All-Star Game was the drizzling shits is because WNBA players are overworked and underpaid? They were given $15,000 to compete at the All-Star Game. Earlier this month, the Indiana Clarks, they had a full week off from June 28th through July 4th. The Indiana Clarks played 0 games, a full week off in the middle of the season. And I'm supposed to believe you're overworked and underpaid? You can claim exhaustion, you can claim you're underpaid, but the real reason the All-Star Game sucked is because the overall WNBA product sucks. This was not an anomaly. What happened Saturday night, that was not unusual. What we saw Saturday night was the average game in the WNBA. And instead of owning it, WNBA players are doing what they do best, which is making excuses. You know, I often get asked about building an audience on YouTube. There are millions of creators who are struggling. They're struggling to gain traction. Some will have a viral video. They think they have finally made it, and their next 10 videos get 50 combined views. You see, a viral video, it can actually be a bad thing, especially when you're first starting out. If you produce a steaming turd and it goes viral, there's a strong possibility no one will watch you again. I tell aspiring creators the same thing I would tell the WNBA. Someone is always watching. Never take your audience for granted. Do not waste their time. I approach every video the same way. How can I maximize every minute? How can I make every second valuable? Because your time is valuable. Giving you half-assed effort, that is unacceptable. Showing up unprepared, showing up with no notes, no script, that's another thing I get asked about sometimes. Why do you use a script? Why do you not use a script? I don't use a script for me. I use a script for you. This script is an organized collection of my thoughts that helps me stay on topic and not waste a minute of your time. If I waste your time, if I show up unprepared, you will rightfully choose someone else to give your valuable time to. Now, take my approach and let's apply it to All-Star Weekend in the WNBA. Take my appreciation for you and let's compare that to how the WNBA shows their appreciation to their audience, their fan base. Numerous reports of WNBA players showing up late to fan events. If they bothered to show up, they stuck around for 10 minutes, then left. Whether it was lack of skill or lack of effort, the All-Star Game was a flaming ass fire. And I don't know which is worse. Was the All-Star Game bad because of a complete lack of skill? Or were WNBA players giving a complete lack of effort? Either way, it ain't good. Now, some will say NBA players do the same thing. They don't take the All-Star Game seriously. Yeah, that's definitely true. But the NBA is an established league. The WNBA is not. When you're not established, you have to take advantage of every opportunity you were given. Saturday night, the WNBA had the opportunity to show 3.2 million people what their league was about. With what the WNBA presented, how many of those people are asking for seconds? How many of those people are asking for more pretend basketball? Believe it or not, the WNBA is set up for success. You have two major stars in Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham. Even though Angel Reese is one of the worst, most unathletic players I've seen, Angel Reese is actually good for the league. She knows how to generate attention. Your season runs through the summer where there's nothing else to talk about. Watch what happens here in about 5-6 weeks. Watch what happens when football season starts. The WNBA will be forgotten, but this league could own the summer. But the problem with the WNBA is the same problem they have had for 30 years. This league, they're entitled players. They can't get the hell out of their own way. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys later.